not only are Berlusconi's ratings 18 months on much higher now at 48% than they were 18 months into the life of his last government when they were down to 37%, but obviously they are much higher than those of Romano Prodi, who had none of these possibilities of permanent campaigning.
So this scandal that's been taking up a lot of space in the British media, the Tipsy and all those other issues that got a lot of attention in the foreign press, has had no negative effect at all.
I don't think they have any real effect because
despite the kind of impression given by the British press, which is one crisis to the other, will he survive?
Well, yes, that's right. You see, I think as far as the sort of sexual scandals are concerned, of course there's always been this sort of very long tradition in Italian political culture that politicians' private life.
The Constitutional Court made its ruling about his parliamentary immunity. It
Well,
seemed to be a crisis.
Yes, that's right. Because you see, I think here anti-political attitudes are important. There's a secret admiration on the part of Berlusconi supporters for a man who claims to be an outsider, to be able to come in and do things, which these professional politicians can't and have never been able to. What's also important is this sort of diffidence in relation to public officials, this scepticism that we can really count on norms of due process being applied, and therefore this sort of cultural, we're talking about cultural aspect here, this sort of secret admiration, I think, in Italian culture for somebody who manages to work the system to their own advantage, precisely because we can't be sure that the system will act in accordance with norms of universalism. Means that there is this secret admiration for Berlusconi and what he's been able to achieve, and that what he's managed to do is to turn a lot of the discontent that we saw and the outrage that we saw at the time of Tangentopoli to his own advantage, because if that was based on anti-political attitudes, so based on anti-political or at least anti-sort of institutional attitudes, is this conflict that he's managed to generate and fuel between himself and the judiciary, saying, okay, here are people who are essentially driven by political motives and are trying to use their positions in the judiciary to attack me, given that they're unable to defeat me at the ballot box.
Even though Faustino Craxi was the most senior figure, ex-Prime Minister, implicated in the Tangentopoli Manipuliti episode, even though Craxi was effectively Berlusconi's patron, he was the one who, this contradiction has not been significant in the way it's been played out in Italy. Why is that, do you think?
Well, I guess for two reasons, really. Memories are short, and I suspect in the case of most people, their attitudes are driven by most immediate and the most recent sort of political events. And I would also guess that it has to do with the fact that people like you and I are aware of the sort of intimate connections between Berlusconi and Craxi, but if we bear in mind the sort of sociological profile of the typical PDL voter, stereotypical terms is supposed to be a person who only gets their news from television, isn't very well informed, is likely to be work at home and so on and so forth. Well,
okay.
No, these are like having said that Craxi has been a lot reevaluated history, so
rehabilitated.
There are people that want to dedicate streets to Craxi, etc. No, but there is a strike of hope in this picture that Jim was portraying in a very effective way. There is a weakness of Berlusconi and the Berlusconi system, which also probably makes us think that the system of Berlusconi, the Berlusconi club, is not so large. The fact that he is not creating, like other people in his position, heirs and lieutenants that are strong enough. He is also weak, like the center-left leadership, and therefore, and weak leadership, or at least for some reason, he still thinks that he's weak, and that's why they find their lieutenants among their relatives, their very good friends. No. In fact, for instance, the next regional election, paradoxically, could sign a good point for the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party, which is even so weak that it does not even manage to have his own candidate, has been imposed candidates, for instance, in Campania, Puglia, and Lazio, Bonino, Vendola, and De Luca up to a point, that are quite strong, and they are. Yes, but he has been imposed against the who was having the majority of the Democratic Party in Campania, because Bassolino was won the election, and that still had the regional. Yeah, no, I know. No, but okay, but Vendor. In any case, this was not the point. The point is that within the center-left culture, the center-left area, there are many more personalities that can even effectively conduct a regional election campaign, and they may even win. Whereas you are right, nationwide the support of Berlusconi is very, very high. I'm now talking a little bit in some strategic terms. One weakness of Berlusconi is that probably is not fabricating his own heirs and lieutenants in a strong way.